Heyo everybody, this is Vibrating Sheep on a hot summer day here in California. Um, we've got a little bit to go over today, and then after that we're going to talk about fun things. So let's get started. This is what? Episode number 284.
Four.
Blessings upon you. Um, so with me as always,
It's DJ.
Um, today we'll be talking about new characters. That's pretty much the focus of that. We knew that we was coming a few hours after, and now for once, we have a full um, week of using these characters, and we'll also be talking about Aletheia, the new 5-star. So where do you want to start, DJ?
Let's start with characters, since that came out first.
Okay, so let's start with Gwynne then, since I can actually access Gwynne and bring her page up real fast. So Gwynne came out because of the Home Sweet Moon rerun. This was a
Correct.
character that people were hoping for last year, and there's so many freaking characters in Home Sweet Moon that they just released. I think they released 5 of the characters from Home Sweet Moon, right? Because there was one of the original. So there was Vazraga, there Fire. There was Water Zeta,
So,
Earth Bea, Eustace 5-star, and Isaac, and then Cassius. So 5.5 of the society characters in there got new versions,
hey,
essentially.
don't forget Cassius.
I said Cassius at the end, the new Cassius for the
I
event
thought you said
character.
Isaac.
I said Isaac and then Cassius, so it was the 3 originals. So plus half for Eustace, plus Isaac, plus Cassius. That was 5.5. Anyway, so Gwyn came out. It was not Ilsa for to try and dash some people's hopes, like because her VA showed up on Granblue TV channel, people were sort of pinning their hopes on a new Ilsa. They're like, it's time. It wasn't time, but so this character got totally overshadowed by the Grand character that came out. And also, there's no water content to use her on right now, other than a Tomb who's been out for a while, and people are pretty settled on their teams for that fight. But the people who actually did test her went, "This character's nuts."
Yeah, she keeps it really well in DPS.
Yeah, she's very quietly nuts. Like, so she's saber gun proficiency. She is very very um, relic bustery as a character. So I guess we start with the
Well, except for the demerit of being a relic buster.
right. So we start with her supports. So she has discharge cells, and not whatever it's called, like machine cells or augments or whatever.
Something. Anyways, she starts off with 2 at the very beginning, and also when she's CA, she also gets 2.
And like other relic busters, she eats 1 when she attacks to get triple attacks and chaser. So she's sword relic buster.
50% chaser.
She's sword relic buster.
Yep.
Um, and then her other one is this is sort of the Grand Lancelot style passive. So if you are a saber character in water, she gives you skill specs up, and if you're a gun,
20% skill damage and 10% skill damage cap.
10% cap is the important part there. Harria's numbers are very similar, I think. Um,
We don't talk about that character.
yeah, and then boost to gun specialty water allies CA specs.
30% CA damage, 10% cap.
And 10% cap is pretty significant. That's the number that, say, the debuff from Noah gives, I think, doesn't it, for 10% cap? And then does Poseidon's debuff give that? Let's see. I have to look this up again. Tidefather's Judgment.
I thought
No.
Poseidon does give defense down.
Yeah, it's not. So it's Noah's debuff and things like that. Things of that nature. Um, Gun specialty water allies, by the way, is kind of a funky spot right now
Yeah,
because,
Kukuru
like,
and Silva and
so there's a lot of them. She
Ingray.
She does work well with Isaac. Isaac does CA a lot, like a lot. She works very awkwardly with the mercenary archers because they want to auto a lot. She doesn't do that well with Leisha because Leisha wants to be in the back line, and she does skill damage.
Unfortunately,
Well,
wait,
she's saber gun, so she
yeah,
does
what I was
okay with
saying.
that part. Kukuru is her,
Skill damage,
yeah. Silva is
only
in a,
CA.
yeah. So that one's fine, but the character has sort of has very much fallen out of favor. Ingve does like, I don't know if raising Ingve's CA cap actually does anything after Odyssey is used.
I don't know either. I don't think it really affects it that much.
Yeah. And so like she has this weird spot where gun CA is not in a spot where it should be or could be. It's not very favorable anyway.
It's
So
okay. Water Sword's good.
yeah, water sword is good. All right. So those are her passives. So you start thinking of her in Relic Buster terms. Um, Lunatic Lashings also is a little weird because, alright, so it does the normal massive water damage, and then it does bonus plane damage based on her HP.
Yep. So the HP thresholds are you only get one hit from 0 to 50%,
Mm-hmm.
2 hits from 51 to 75, and then 76 to 100 is 3 hits.
And how many are they each? Are they the 333, 333, or.
It's 400k each.
Okay, so she can do up to 1.2 million plane damage based on her having high HP. Then that gives her discharge cells. She also can get 3 of them from hitting
From
release
Rose
augments
Galleons.
here.
Also, when she's above 50% HP, she gets double strike for that turn.
Which is, in giving herself 3 discharge cells is very important for that turn, given that she's using 2 of them immediately. She can also this is the interesting part. So ram it down is attack is sharply boosted for anywhere from 1 turn if you use 0 discharge cells to 4 turns
Four.
if you use 3 of them. And so she can have assassin for up to 4 turns. It can't
Well,
be
you say up
extended,
to. Yeah.
but like that is a whole lot of damage.
That's a
Especially
lot of assassin. It's
and if
like 50% assassin too.
if she's on full auto, she will hit release. She will start with 2. She will hit release augments to get another 3. She'll be at 5. She'll use ram it down immediately to get 4 turns of assassin. She'll never press her skill 3, but on that turn she will guaranteed triple attack with assassin
For a double
and
strike.
what?
On a double strike.
On a double strike.
Because she'll still have 2 cells.
Yeah, she will. Yeah. So she'll that one turn is nuts. One of my friends asked me, it's like, so how? I don't know. She doesn't necessarily do more damage than Zeta for that one turn. It's like, she, you play both. 2, the second turn she is still very good because
She
starts.
CAs that turn.
Yeah,
More likely.
She CAs that turn because you start at 30 meter more often than not. She triple attacks and gains 37 meter. She triple attacks again and she gains 37 meter. 30 plus 35 plus 35 is 100. So she CAs on the second turn, and then she has 2 more, and she swings again. And that third turn, she once again triple attacks with Chaser and Assassin. And on the fourth turn, she triple attacks with Chaser and Assassin.
Yeah, she kept up really well with my Poseidon and damage, and that's with the crit grid.
Yeah, like if I had a Gwynne, she would do amazingly well just with that 4-turn sequence. On the 5th turn, the 5th turn is when she's not necessarily going to be a goddess anymore. Like, and then here's the other thing. So Guns N' Roses, right? This is, what is it, Blitz or something like that on Relic Buster? That's the skill that no one uses because 1, it's not full auto friendly. and 2,
It uses up one of your charges
it uses up one of your machine cells, and you need those. So this Guns N' Roses here solves that
by
by
having
saying
different ammo slots.
it is an entirely different ammo, and you can never reload them, but you get 3 uses of this ever. So if you wanted to cut things short, you could say on turn 3 hit this once, and she will do that triple attack with Chaser a turn early, and turn 4 she CAs and she gets 2 discharge cells back, and then on turn 5 you hit this again, right? So there's a lot of play here, and she does nutso damage without any serious drawbacks. She benefits from having high health, but she doesn't require it. She doesn't heal herself when she releases her augments, notably, which is
But she
something that
doesn't
was
also put hostility on her
yeah. She doesn't have natural hostility.
and defense down,
She doesn't
and
yeah. But like this is a lot of the good stuff that base level Relic Buster gives without any of the drawbacks.
yeah, the only thing she's missing is the blocking attack.
Hmm.
But considering how her discharge cells work, you don't really need it.
A lot of the time, the stuff you bring her to will be dead by the time
Yeah,
that any of this comes into play, because given like the sequence that we've talked about, then she does a good what like. Okay, so let me think about this. It's 1.2 million plane damage. Then let's just pretend that she does like pretend you're not on CA grid, so she does like 4 million CA. My mental math on the amount of damage that she'll be doing is about 9, 18, 60, 50 to 60 million damage in those 4 turns.
it's quite a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So yeah, Gwyn, I'll pick her up at
Fun.
some point. What's
Also,
up?
fun note is that if she revives, because sometimes your character die and you revive them, she will actually get back her two cells and 3 burst shells.
Hmm. Yeah, some
That's
people.
important though, because some characters do not get the resources back.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like I don't remember if Robomi gets them back. It's been a while since I used Robomi, and it's also like been a while since I used Robomi in any kind of content where she could possibly die. All right, so anyway, that's Gwyn. Um, Taking a second to look at Blue Lightning, it has medium HP and small stamina. All right,
And gives a shield on CA. 1500.
and Keita notes that you only get Robomi's ammo back when you use an elixir, so that's the one that I remember. All right, so thanks for that. Um, yeah, Gwyn.
Yeah, she's
that's
good.
that's a lot. That's a whole lot. All right,
That's the damage.
so we're moving on to Galleon, a character that you've been playing with for a week now. So we can talk about this with a decent amount of
My
expertise.
50% sacrifice in Diaspora.
So I think I'm gonna have a big gap when it comes. Yep, Galleon here. All right, so take us through Galleon, DJ. There's a lot. So
Alright, let's start off with their passive, Mother's Earth's Love. At the end of the turn, if Earth allies do not attack, they get a 50% assassin and for one time and 20% meter. That's important because A, V2 exists,
yes,
and B, her skill 3 makes it so that every other turn she doesn't attack.
which by the way is very annoying from what people tell me in V2 because
Oh
sometimes you
yeah,
want
because
to
you cannot
block.
block. You cannot block if you cannot attack with Galleon.
Yeah, so you actually have to block a turn in advance in order to be able to block on the actual turn of something that you need to block. Sorry,
Yeah,
but
I
keep going.
don't actually use it half the time in certain fights.
The actual skill 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Annoying things is also you cannot recast it, so if she dies and revives, you cannot cast it.
Oh. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So and it's not like it's like a field effect,
Hmm.
It's a buff. But the skill 3 does actually give some nice numbers. It gives her 100% perpetuity modifier.
to
300% defense.
okay. So perpetuity
That will not
modifier is
survivor.
attack. Got it.
Yes. Unfortunately, that 300% defense doesn't help you if you can't block sometimes.
Hmm.
100% damage cap. Debuff immunity, quotation marks, because Diaspora still exists.
Right. God sight and all those things. Sure.
Guaranteed triple attack on the turns that she can attack.
Right.
She will auto activate her skill 2 every 4 turns.
Rubble rain. Yep.
Yeah, and then we already said you can't attack after a turn she attacks in.
Yeah. So it's an amusing parallel to Willness, where Willness gets to triple attack only the turn after he CAs. Galleon triple attacks every other turn if you are either blocking or have skill 3 turned on, and that one will have it will have a, what is it, 50% chaser? No, she has a chaser herself, right, on her skill 3, or was
No.
it? No, okay. It will have assassin. That's the thing that I was trying to remember. 50%
Yep,
assassin.
50% assassin.
Okay, so that's her self buff.
Yep. However, she also has a Blessed Kiss. Is a 10-turn cooldown at level 55, and it gives you another Earth ally Landside's Blessing. What does Landside's Blessing do? It gives them 50% Earth attack, 100% defense, guaranteed double attack, 100% debuff resistance up, and 20% chaser. If you already have it, though, when you cast it on an ally, this is like chicken, where you heal the target. This one's for 10k, and remove all debuffs on them.
That sounds really good.
Yep. And 10 turns pretty long, though, so this is why we have the CA. The CA reduces her cooldowns by 3 turns.
So, the funny thing about her is that, like, the kiss, right? The blessing that she puts on an ally once. They've learned from previous iterations, we've talked about this a bit, where it's like, okay, they keep sacrificing characters like Sylph and Misha and Summer Korwa. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna give her a reason to stay on the field and keep giving out kisses. And it's like, but people still sacrifice her anyway because the buff is just that good on its own. Anyway, keep going.
I mean, chicken also has this type of buff.
Mm-hmm.
And last to note is actually Bedrock Rain, 8-turn cooldown. It does 6 hits of flame damage. Each one is 6, whatever, per hit. It removes a buff from all foes, and also does a delay on all foes. Mm-hmm. This is annoying in Diaspora, by the way.
Which
because you cannot delay Diaspora.
Right. And
in every other fight in the game, it's beautiful.
I was going to ask, so in Diaspora, does Rubble Rain activate after her turn is over? So it doesn't.
I don't remember.
Like,
I think it's after.
Okay, so it doesn't count for omens, is what. Like, you don't think about it when it comes to breaking omens, which is a consideration given that all of the dragons are V2 characters. Because we haven't even talked about her V2 passive yet, have we?
We did.
Oh, the Fated Chain one?
No, we talked about the not attacking one.
Yeah, I'm talking about the V2 passive, the Fated Chain one.
Okay, so when you do a Fated Chain, you restore 5,000 health to everybody, and to turn cut to you Earth allies debuff duration. So just like Satyr on that regard for that.
But yeah, like that's that. So I think we have now covered the whole package for Galleon, and like this character's design is pretty cool when it comes to that. Like she is very good at giving your team sustain in V2. Given that she delays, she heals, she helps take care of debuffs, she
helps the spell.
Mm-hmm. And like this character is amusingly awful in just random full auto content. not always awful, just amusingly so. Um, but yeah, like you've been using her a lot. Is there anything else that you wanted to say about how she plays?
She works well with tigers.
She works really well with tigers. Just they're already encouraged to either block or just turn off their own attacks with
Skill
their all
three.
sub, and then they get 20 meter for it, and they heal for even more.
Their healing is from themselves, I thought.
Right. Oh, right. The healing. It's the assassin they get. Sorry.
Correct.
They heal more when she heals them with the faded chain effect.
5k, and you couldn't give her, you could just roll a ring on her, you know?
Yeah, I like that the Grand Six Dragons so far have someone they pair really well with. It's a neat bit of design. I mean, a lot of these characters are just good on their own, and then there's synergies that naturally exist from the things that they support. Uh, all right. So, is there anything else that we need to say about Galleon, or should we move on to her weapon?
Last thing to say is, sometimes not attacking is the worst thing in the world.
It is a real drawback. Like we've talked about this with some of the other dragons. Sometimes they do have real drawbacks that you have to think about. They're not like instant everywhere. Although
And then
Fediel
there's
is very
Fediel.
close. Fediel is very close. If Fediel,
Fediel is a drawback if she dies.
yeah, Fediel is what if she dies? You're just like, oh no. um, let's see here. Let's go to her weapon then.
Oh, this weapon's stupid.
This weapon is all sorts of stupid, and there's there's a lot of weirdness involved. Okay, so Earth Staff. Let's go to the Landslide Scepter. Okay, so at 4 stars, it is MC can attack next turn. What's the other effect on it?
It gains the effect that all allies get 60% chaser for the next turn. For our next attack, specifically.
Okay, that's a lot. All right.
MC can't attack, with there's a Galleon there. Yeah. Yeah.
And because you're on staff main hand, if you're doing this, then there's a lot of like staff classes that don't necessarily care about that part of the drawback. Like Monk is just gonna smack them anyway at the end of your turn with Mantra, for example. Um, Sometimes Necromancer you don't want to attack. Anyway, all right, but here's the big thing. So here's so people were wondering if her weapon was going to be an equivalent to pain and suffering, and executive decision was made. Basically, no, this is not going to be pain and suffering. Among other things, it would take so much to get Earth players to stop using Kime. So their solution is Resonator. And
New
Resonator,
ability.
what was that?
New ability.
Yeah. So it asks for 3 of a kind. It is this or it is Kime. You choose one. They are mutually exclusive. So Amber Resonator says it checks for any 3 of a kind. And when that 3 of a kind is detected, then you get, what is it? Is it 40%?
It's 40% EX modifier,
EX.
25% defense, and 7% special damage cap.
And special damage cap is that special damage cap new?
I think so.
So it stacks with other damage cap up in grid.
Like Diantha, yeah.
All right. And like I said, so one of the things that made it so hard to let go of Kime for so long is that you were trading grid flexibility for an essential 11th grid slot that gave you 10% cap, 50% defense, and then a certain amount of attack that was fine, but the real big things were that it didn't take a weapon slot. And now, with the Landslide Scepter, then you are trading a different kind of grid flexibility for getting a backline character slot back.
Sometimes important,
Yeah. Like because I am stuck to Kime, I am attached to Kime to get my high level defense. I cannot um, like do the swap from being a CA team in Diaspora into being a skill or an auto team. I just don't have enough character slots. Other people can do it because they're just like, I still have defense by having Landslide Scepter, and I can have two characters die to Autophagon and switch into being like Lobeliasaurus or something, or into like Kukuru Diantha or whatever you want to choose. Um, but now with two Amber Resonators, then you get 50% defense and 14% damage cap up, which
It's
voila,
higher than Kaim.
it's Kaim. Yeah, it's 80% EX attack, it's 50% defense, which is the big magic number, and then it's the damage cap.
Please remember that 40% EX is a lot of EX by itself, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Because yeah, the Yggdrasil's bow is what, 37%?
37.
Yeah. 40% is the number that you get out of a pain and suffering or harmonia when you have
With
four other ones. Um, and so like when I first was thinking about this, I was like, okay, maybe you get like one or two landslide scepters, and then there's a bunch of other grids that are very interesting with it, where it's like we have the landslide scepter like two of, and then you run three Alexiolaxes, and it's like you're back to the old guaranteed crit grid in Magna, and you just happen to have a bunch of extra defense, you have extra damage cap, and that thing hits real freaking hard.
Oh yeah.
Um, the issue that I have with this is that the more landslide scepters you have, the better it gets in some ways. Like three is considered the ideal number right now because that maxes out the damage cap portion.
Correct.
And then you're like, okay, 120% EX attack, that's a lot. I should probably start looking into other things. The thing that I saw, people were just like, I have to know. And so there are some intrepid like whales out there, and I do not use the word whale lightly, but there are intrepid whales out there who are like, what if I have 10 of them? And the answer is that
Oh my god.
the answer is that you have passive 200%, 250%, I think, defense. Like it doesn't.
There's a cap on defense.
There's a
I
cap.
thought.
Is it 200%?
It might actually be 300, so they're fine.
Yeah, yeah. It's like okay, that part might not be okay. The passive like 250% defense.
Look, they only have one modifier. All right.
Yeah, but like
No, technically two. If you actually get the 150 for each of those.
um, but yeah, like 3 is considered a good number. 2 is considered a good number. 1 you might still think about using Kaim if you're going to be doing anything that where defense is helpful.
You know what I did for that instead?
What'd you do?
I put three of the harps together.
Which harps?
The Perseus.
Okay.
And I'm like, I have all the HP I need.
Double attack? What's that? Never heard of it.
I guarantee double attack with Galleon.
But yeah, so this weapon is very, very interesting.
It allows Earth to get out of its stagnant ways of just being singleton, though, because it's been like that way for like what 4 years now.
But it doesn't fully invalidate it, which is the thing that I was hopeful about. Like people are still looking at it and going, "I'm going back to Kaim for certain things." Like you can reconfigure based on what you need, as opposed to once again always being Kaim and always having that backline slot dedicated to Kaim. And so it
There's so
adds.
many backline passives now. So
I looked. Most of them are either
water.
well, in Earth specifically, most of them are Crest. It's like Lobelia, Kaim, Diantha, and then the rest are Crest.
Also, you on our front line.
Oh yeah, sorry, Silva technically as well. But anyway, yeah, the Landslide Scepter is one of those things where it's interesting. I really don't know if they will even bother to replicate it in other elements because it solves a very, very specific problem that was specific only to Earth. And that is kicking a small boy out of slot 6.
How much EMP does he have? Hold on, let
I
me
have
check.
I have the EMP level 287 on him, and he's got 2700 EMP for me. However, his awakening level is 5. I just looked at this because I just never planned for him being in front. Like, he just doesn't exist.
And they printed better characters for copy ability.
Yeah. And like I looked at this, it's like I don't even have the domain. I have um the hanged man weapon at maximum. I do have the what is it, the tethers of the hanged man, something like that. But I have never bothered putting a single one of these in here for this child because they don't matter. Like, he's dead.
All right, time for Kaim 5-star. He could use his backline pass up front.
We'll see.
I mean, what? That's like next to the logical progression, right?
hmm But yeah, like that's landslide scepter. Um,
It's good.
it is very good. It's
I convinced Isaiah actually to make the grid.
I mean, he's been sitting on like 30 Damascus forever.
Oh, you should see his moon count.
Oh, I've seen it. I saw it before he sparked this time, so I'm sure he added to that. All right, are we on to characters? The other character, the 5-star.
Yeah, let's go to the 5-star now.
All right. So this is a character that we had thought that they were just never going to bring back out of respect for the VA.
And so they gave it to his son.
Yeah, just like he got Norded. Like, I don't say that lightly. Like, the exact same thing that happened to Xehanort in Kingdom Hearts happens to Aletheia, where the role was passed on to the son. So, two things happened with Aletheia before 5-star. And number one is that Holy Sword changed. Holy Sword used to be Aletheia gains
Garbage. He gains
20% more meter.
20% meter. Yes, how when he has auto ignition.
It maybe sometimes helped him getting to CA one turn before speed came back up. Sometimes. It's been a very long time since I used this character for more than 2 turns. I'll be honest with you.
But he had ignition, so
Yeah. Alright. But yeah, now it's attack boost and his CA specs go up.
Alright, so the attack boost is 30% perpetuity modifier and 100% CA damage, 25 cap.
Which is, for something that's passive, like he doesn't need to do anything for this, that's pretty strong. And then was there another?
There was technically two other things. They changed the animation and icon for speed, and also they changed celerity and velocity, so they cannot no longer be removed.
That's right. It used to be that the sword sweep CA, the buffs from that could get removed before he could then hit order and discord. Because this is the thing, is that these buffs would stay on him for longer than a turn, because like the way that he was before, you either hit his skills on turn 1 to just squeeze out as much damage as possible, or you had to wait until turn 2 and just sit there and then press them, and then future CAs would leave these buffs on him for more often than he would actually be able to hit these buttons. And so being dispelled on those turns was kind of sad.
Yep.
Now that can't happen. And there's another thing at work that prevents you from losing these buffs now and wasting them or doubling them up. And that's upon 5-star, the moment you 5-star him, it turns into Gilt-Edged Sword Sweep. So not only do the next order and discord activate twice, but they also go off of cooldown.
Yep, that's a really good passive. As someone who's made 150 Sorn, yeah, that's a really good passive always.
Yeah, double cast and they refresh. And then I'm not sure. I can't remember which one's 90 and which one's 95. We're gonna
All right, so
consider them.
90
Oh,
is
go ahead.
order and 95 is Discord.
Okay, so 90 is order. Um, this one now removes a buff,
Always a useful ability.
and it double. Remember that it's doubled on.
Double buffs.
Yeah, it double removes debuffs or buffs. Sorry, and so it takes away 2 stacks of Evangelist, which is a very strong thing in Blue Silius. It's this particular boss, by the way, that in Nightmare does not buff itself. So everybody who's like, "Man, this is really good against Nightmare," it's not good against this Nightmare. It would have been great against last Nightmare
Oh yeah.
and future Nightmares. But anyway,
Wait,
so
what? We still haven't unlocked further bosses yet for this
yeah,
one.
so we don't have 100, 150, and 200. So in the next 24 hours, this could change. Who knows? But this is a very good thing to have around. As anybody who's played Blazing Teacher Elmot, sorry, is it Blazing Teacher Elmot? No, it's the new Elmot, the new SSR Elmot. It's like, oh, that's a nice buff you have there. Shame if something would happen to it.
Yeah, the only difference is that Elmots is also reactive.
Yeah,
So
this one requires him to CA, but there's a lot of really good timings that you can just have this available, and you just do it. You just double the
yeah,
spell. Next up is Discord. Um, and that one does 999,999 plane
yep.
damage.
Double cast.
Yeah. Um, I do enjoy how like this is sort of a reflection of what Yodarha can do. Also, because the Yodarha does show up in his fates and they talk to each
They're
other.
young.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, you just hit this button, you get like freaking 6 million damage after he's level 95, and then a level 100. Flowering Spirit. So this one was very like had about like an hour or two of confusion because the way that they said it, they only told you the 4,800% total part of it, and so people were like, "How many hits does it do?" Because this tells us everything about how well it does with World Ender.
It is 4 hits.
It still does.
However,
Yeah, go ahead.
these hits are really hard.
These hits are mega hard. So base, they are 1.3 million damage cap each. And,
That's pretty huge.
and the thing about it also, like we've mentioned this every once in a while. So World Ender, right? It provides the supplemental damage part. And it's what 100k per hit? No, it's 25k per hit and modified by
summons.
summons. And then the maximum that you can get out of it is 200k, just like the Ewier's Beak, etc.
It also has a skill damage cap up
The
on
other
it too.
part of it, exactly, is the skill damage cap piece, which is 5%, but also modifiable by summons, and so that's like 12-ish% skill cap or something like that. More, it's more.
It's
one,
probably what
150
like
twice, 300%. It's multiplied by. It's
multiply that by
22%. 22% skill cap. So here's the thing: when you hit for 1.3 million, right?
That cap up is nice.
So 1300000 times 1.22. Yeah, it's actually one of the ways that you can have the skill cap up portion actually be bigger than supplemental damage by making the original number enormous, which this does. And so we were talking about it like mine with only a seraphic weapon and skill cap up from a 50% source. That was the Opus. It did 7 million. People out there have done this up to with their multiple world enders and like landslide scepters that now check for world enders, and you can run multiple world enders just fine. They were doing what, 21 million every time this happens?
That's pretty good. But it's only after 10 turns and 14 turns. How do you
No.
get it down?
So it starts on a 10-turn lockout. Then you press speed. Then you press order and discord. So it's now a
That's
7
7.
turn. And then you CA, and then you're down to 6. And then you hit order once, and it's down to 5. It only counts the actual button press. It does not count skill activations. And then you press this again, and you have 4. And then, you can then CA again, and these will come back. And it's another every time you CA, it's another 2 turns knocked off. How does that feel, Kumbira players? It feels great.
Hey, Kumbir gets to cheat hers way faster in certain ways. Sometimes by countering a lot, sometimes by.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like every time you see he CAs, you get 2 turns off of this along with the actual turn passing, and hitting this button is super satisfying.
It has a buff on it. It's kind of cool.
I've never noticed this buff, honestly.
Hey, it's a 90% damage cap up, though.
It is, it is. So it combines with the passive, and you said it's what 25% normally, so he gets 115%.
Yeah.
That is noticeable, but it's
And then,
not
it's
nearly as
graphic, and then.
it's not nearly as satisfying as just plain pressing this button and just watching things explode. Yeah, Keita and chat. I'm getting 14 million hits, and it's great. It's like, yeah, all right, but yeah, Aletheia. Whenever you need something dispelled, he's available because there's just a lot of Earth utility characters with dispel. This is double dispel. This is double dispel and plain damage, and so like, if there are any trials in the future that ask for either of these, or if there's buffs that matter, or if there's anything that you want, if especially if you don't want super high hit counts, then this character can also do really well. Like
High Tower.
yeah, Diaspora doesn't favor him, but if there's ever content in the front that just says, "Oh yeah, you don't want to, hit something 30 times," like after that number hits, like, "Oh, hi Grandpa, let's dance."
Oh man, doing that in Tower was so horrible when I built everything around multiple hits.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, all right. So that is Aletheia. Um, there's one last thing to talk about today, and that is, uh, we have Keelan back. We can now reduce Keelan, and it will get you Keelan Anima.
But no
If you
burgers.
if you were ever the person who used a Sunlight Stone on a Keelan, then between now and June 30th of 2023, then you'll get the Sunlight Stones back. Did I already reduce mine? Someone asked me on Granblue. It's like, yo, um, why do you have 28 of these? Like, why don't you have 28 of these? Huh?
I mean,
Don't shame me.
they literally drop a lot if you do trains.
Yeah,
Quite often.
I haven't even done a train in a long ass time. It just drops a lot. And now
Yeah, I
yeah.
was about to make my third a 3-star one
Mm-hmm.
before this change happened.
Yeah, I was since I played Water and Super Ultimate Bahamut, I had 5 of them. It's like, what's the 5th for? I don't know, man. I had 7 technically, just spares,
It was a rainy day.
just in case. Now I'm just gonna break all these Wanglongs real fast.
Yeah, getting the gold anima is really nice, especially since so many things require the gold anima.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, remember to do that before next year.
Yeah.
I suggest just doing it now. There's no reason not to for the Keelans at least. Huanglongs, maybe there'll be something that you actually want to bring 4 of them to, but you won't bring 4 of them to anything anymore. The only fight where you brought more than one of them lets you summon other things now and doesn't punish you because of the Keelan nerf. So just bring what you want. It's a whole new world. It's fantastic.
So many summon slots.
We've got some summons to use again. Michael is free. It's great. We have
Uncle gives you meter.
Mandrake. Mandrake. I put Sunlight Stones into Mandrake after not caring because it's like, oh, this summon's really good at this. Before we would just have hit Keelan and just pressed debuff buttons. Now let's do this thing, and let's hit
Yeah,
summon
I wish I had Mandrake.
yeah, the like whenever my Mandrake flies out in our Diasporas, I just see this flood of like Titans and Yggdrasils coming through trying to catch it. It's like the old days of like when we were in our original Blue Lucilius or our original Ultimate Bahamut. As soon as a Lucifer flew out, you just saw every single like Agni and Varuna flying out there trying to catch it. It's like, oh.
I'm glad I don't really need yours. I'm really glad I don't need actually 5 people for summoning that.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, yeah, that's it for this week. Actually, that's a lie. That's it for today.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, because we spent so much of today talking about characters and like how Landslide Scepter and Aletheia, etc., changed the game. Tomorrow we're doing the Granblue Fantasy Draft. Should we preview one of the boards, DJ?
Show them the bow board.
Oh, the bow board's so bad. I have to show you. I have to show you how bad it is. All right, let me pull that up real quick. So we've got 5 people for the draft tomorrow, and the draft is going to be, what would if you could make your own Eternals, and our stipulation says you cannot draft someone who's already an Eternal. Has to be new, otherwise Bo wouldn't be nearly as desperate. For example. Where's the bow board? 1 second. Spear, bow. Oh, right. It's in numerical order of the original. All right.
I'm just looking at the board again.
All right. Here we go. All right. Prepare to be amazed at the choices in Granblue Fantasy for bow. We are so bat hard up for characters who are bow specialty that, among other things, so we've got Arisa from Shadowverse. She's bow spec. Wait, Aster is a mistake. I need to pull this off and make her actually Aster instead of Arisa.
Arisa again, yeah.
Yeah. Kupitan. Okay, that's a real choice.
That's no character.
Fina. Did you remember Flessilise without being prompted?
I remember the dog, I think.
The dog used to be more important than the character because every once in a while, back in
you could pick up a potion.
It could pick up a potion. Very, very, very early, like Ultima Bahamut and Blue Sea fire teams would pack Flessilise as a very ghetto green potion maker. Ilsa, okay, sure. Kihar, we had to dig back into the archives for because Kihar hasn't been relevant for years. Madara, okay, Madara.
Like the last event he was in was like Together in Song, right?
Mm-hmm. Millie and Sally, so those two, yeah, okay. We had to separate them. We could not use their SSR versions because of numbers. Noish, we had to make a bow character because
despite all his other character versions being sword,
being spear.
Oh, spear. Yeah, you're right.
Nectar, we have to count as a bow character because he's holding a bow.
It's in the back.
It's on his back. It's back. Their back.
Their
back. They are also bow spec. Here's Shitori. She's definitely a bow character, and she's becoming story relevant again in main story.
Oh yeah, that did happen.
There's Sutera. Sutera's fun. Tabina's great. Muse second years was the last.
Thanks, Umi. Thanks, Umi.
And then the rest of them we had to fill in with summons.
I told you to do that too.
Before that, we had to pull in we were so desperate before we pulled in summons, Apollo, Artemis, and Sagittarius, that I was going to put in Iroha. I was going to put in Iroha, who is not bow spec at all, but pulls out a bow for 1 skill. And it's like, that counts. This is how bad it was. This is how thin things get after the first few. So, like, after the first 3, I feel like people are going to have to make some hard choices, or we're going to make some troll choices. Who knows?
I'm also laughing at Harp.
Oh, Harp was hard. Harp was hard. I'm gonna show them Harp. I'm gonna show them Harp. Give me
There's
a
no
sec.
pictures on my end for that one.
Mhm. Harp is 9. So here's Harp. We had to pull in a Cinderella girl.
You put on 2 Mews.
We have Muse first years and Muse third years. I will note, by the way, that the Cinderella girl election is going on. They released the brackets. Kaede is in Group A, and 0 other previous Cinderella girls are in Group A with her. It's gonna be a bloodbath. Like, she is going to murder everybody out of that group. It will
I
take
mean, she is your, so you know.
it will take extreme collusion for her not to be the winner of Group A. Like, anyway, so
I
see you
mean, she's
tomorrow.
been top 10 for like 3/4 of the Cinderella Girl elections.
Yeah, yeah. And the ones that she wasn't a winner for was because she didn't exist yet. That's basically it. So anyway, that's it for today. Like I said, see you guys tomorrow. We'll be bringing in 5 people to draft, and there are some thin bards. Like, there's no getting around this one. So anyway, like I said, see y'all tomorrow. We're gonna go ahead and take a break for the night. What time is it tomorrow? It's the usual time. It's 9 p.m. Pacific, the actual start of, like, the standard radio start time. Could have put UL as Harp. Katsu, we really couldn't have.
Uh, in Harp, I mean, in Katana, we also have Token Rambu,
Hey,
or
he is a katana, okay? He is a katana.
literally Katana, a Doraemon.
Hey. We really couldn't have put UL in there. Like, it's tough in these streets, Katsu. It is really
Oh
tough in
man,
these streets.
yeah, at least Narubai makes sense.
She's the only one. She's like the clear first. Well, one of the clear first picks. Unless, of course, you are a fan of Gintama. Like,
That's true.
it is so hard in these streets. Okay, like if you put UL as Harp, who do you put as Katana, Katsu? Woo! It was tough. It was tough.
Yeah, I'm looking at this list and I'm like, oh, we were actually scraping for Katana.
We were straight. Like, I prioritized the 3 least like populated ones first, and then went, all right, there were some self-imposed rules that I have to break in order to make numbers on these things.
Yeah, we already said Doraemon. Doraemon's already on this list. Katsu.
Yeah, find another katana character.
It's probably on the list.
Doraemon's on here. Let me tell you, Doraemon is 100% on here already because we were scraping. Uh,
Anyways,
there are already 4 collab characters on this list.
there's way more.
Oh boy. All right. Anyway, see you tomorrow, guys. See you tomorrow night.
Good lie.